Order number 10, motion, implementation of the universal health coverage and of a policy on a mandatory use of public health care facilities by public officers. Order number 11, motion, supporting and promoting local fertilizer manufacturing industries.
Honorable Atandi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to move this motion on supporting and promoting local fertilizer manufacturing industries in the country. Madam Speaker, the significance of fertilizer sector, fertilizers for this economy. Thank you. Let me read the motion. Supporting and promoting local fertilizer manufacturing industries. Aware that the Fertilizer and Animal Foodstuffs Act 2015 provides for regulation of fertilizer importation in the country. Further aware that the Fertilizer and Animal Foodstuffs Board regulates the fertilizer and animal foodstuffs industry, including the manufacture and production of fertilizers, noting that the country currently relies heavily on imported fertilizer due to inadequate local production capacity. Further, noting that the low local production leads to high costs for farmers, reducing their profits and resulting in unhealthy reliance on imported fertilizer. Concerned that this scenario threatens the country's food security in case of supply disruptions and discourages local production, recognizing that local fertilizer production could lead to improved fertilizer quality, increased crop yields, and reduction in environmental harm caused by the use of substandard fertilizers, recalling that the country has the potential to produce fertilizer that could meet the country's domestic demand and also supply the regional market. Further, recognizing that there is need for the government to work with local producers to develop high-quality fertilizer tailored to the needs of Kenyan farmers and crops. Now, therefore, this House resolved that the national government, through Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, supports and promotes local fertilizer manufacturing industries by investing in research and development to bolster the domestic fertilizer manufacturing sector. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity to move this motion. Madam Speaker, the significance of the fertilizer in this economy can no longer be gainsaid. Madam Speaker, as you are aware that to date, our economy is stabilizing on the back of the agricultural performance. And this performance relies heavily on fertilizer subsidy. As you are aware, since the coming into government by the Kenya Kwanza regime, the fertilizer subsidies has been one of the most significant items that this government has done that has been able to stabilize the agricultural sector. Today, agricultural sector is contributing significantly in the growth of our economy. And the sector has been doing a lot of importation of fertilizers. As at last year, Madam Speaker, the economy imported about 2 million tons of fertilizers from outside the country. And Honorable Speaker, this is something that is not very good for our economy. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the reason why we are importing more fertilizers is because our own economy cannot produce enough fertilizers to support our farmers. And Honorable Speaker, when we form industries, when we encourage investors to start industries that are dealing in manufacturing and fertilizers, this is going to be very good for us because, as you're aware, manufacturing is one of the sectors that we need to promote so that our economy can grow. But one of the things that is hindering the investment in this sector, first of all, is one, the taxes that apply to the manufacturing sector. And some of these taxes, Madam Speaker, are very heavy. One of the taxes that is really stopping the sector, manufacturing sector, from advancing is the recently increased corporation income tax. Madam Speaker, this income tax is a problem because it is leading to many manufacturers exiting this sector, among other sectors. So, Madam Speaker, one of the things that we need to do that I have thought about when I thought about this motion is that going forward we need to tamper with our taxes that relate to manufacturing sector. This, in a way, is going to encourage many investors who are interested in this sector to come on board. Madam Speaker, it would be interesting for you to note that in the region, the East African region, we have about apparently 15 companies that are involved in this sector. Uganda has about 8 companies, and Tanzania has about 11 companies. These are the companies that are producing fertilizer that is serving the region. And that is the reason why these companies cannot be able to do to supply the needs of the market, the East African market. If you go to countries like South Africa, you will find that manufacturing companies are so many, in the upwards of 100 companies. And that is why their economy is stable and they are able to even to export fertilizers. But Madam Speaker, if we really support this sector the way it should be, then we would be able to even export fertilizers to the region and even in the East and Central African market. Because some of those markets in the Central African region, they hardly have manufacturing companies doing fertilizers. So, Madam Speaker, this focus is very important. The reason why I think it is very important is because agriculture is going to be, remains the backbone of most economies. Even the emerging economies are still relying on agriculture. So this is something that Kenya can take advantage of, and if we have a very good takeoff, it is a sector that is very green, and all the government needs to do is, first of all, invest in research. Most of the fertilizers that are imported into the country, Madam Speaker, they have not been properly researched, and that is why some of them do not help us in yielding good results, because they are not aligned with the climatic conditions of our country. Also, they do not understand the soil texture of our country. So when you import most of the fertilizers, most of the time they will not give the results you expect. Also, Madam Speaker, in terms of quality, sometimes when you are importing things from other countries, you are not certain about the quality of those products. But when you have companies that are domiciled here, then you are able to regulate the quality, you are able to see that what is coming out of those factories is something that is really tailored for our market. So, Madam Speaker, this is a motion that I have thought about, and in line with the government focus on investing in the manufacturing sector, I think, Madam Speaker, that we really need to urge government to do something on this front. Madam Speaker, as I will be moving the Division of Revenue Bill in the afternoon, you will note that in the last 2 financial years alone, the government has spent over 50 billion Kenya shillings in fertilizer subsidy. Imagine, Madam Speaker, if these subsidies were going to our own local companies that are doing manufacturing. The amount of jobs that this would really create in those sectors is enormous. Unfortunately, the subsidies are going to some of these companies that are importing fertilizers from outside the country. So, Madam Speaker, this is something that I want to say is very, very important, and Kenya should never be left behind in efforts to strengthen and improve the agricultural sector of our country. Madam Speaker, I wanted to say that having looked at the performance of the economy in the last 5 years, and having seen how our economy continues to diversify, one of the things that we're going to have to do is to encourage also farmers to engage in commercial farming, commercial agriculture. Because most of our farmers are engaged in small-scale agricultural farming. Now, one of the things outcome that we would get as an economy, if we had all these manufacturing companies doing fertilizers in the country, then we are likely to have most farmers getting interest in doing commercial farming. And commercial farming is more profitable because, to that end, even our tax bracket is going to improve. We do not tax agriculture, Madam Speaker, because most of farmers are doing small-scale farming. So some of these challenges that are forcing farmers to do small-scale farming is availability of cheap quality fertilizers from our own economy. Madam Speaker, I move and ask the Honorable how many people want to support? No, many people are getting interest. I would like to urge the Honorable. For choice. I'm spoiled for choice, Madam Speaker, but let me have the Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi to support. Thank you. To second.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and the move of the motion to give me the time and so that I can be able to put in to support this, to second this motion, well executed by my brother